It's almost 9 at night. You're standing at a metal counter under a string of bare bulbs, and somewhere behind it, a wok hits the flame. There's that sound. Steel scraping steel, fast, confident. Then the smell reaches you. Tamarind and garlic landing in hot oil, sweet and sour and smoky all at once. You don't even look at the menu. You already know what you're ordering. Everyone at this counter knows. Pad Thai, the dish that feels as old as the country itself. The dish that tastes like it was passed down through 50 generations of grandmothers. Except it wasn't. The plate in front of you is younger than your grandmother. And it wasn't born in a kitchen at all. It was born in an office. Here's what almost everyone believes. Pad Thai is ancient. It came from the old capital, from Ayutthaya, from the river markets, from somewhere deep. In the centuries, it's the national dish, so surely it's been the national dish forever. And this belief feels completely reasonable. The flavors are so balanced, so settled, so inevitable, sour, sweet, salty, all holding hands that your tongue tells you this recipe must have taken hundreds of years to perfect. Your tongue is half right, and that half is exactly what makes the story so easy to miss. But what if the most famous Thai dish in the world was designed the way a poster is designed? What if it had a launch date? What if you could name the man who put it on your plate? You can. Think of Pad Thai as a flag. A flag isn't grown. It doesn't evolve slowly in the wild. A flag is designed by particular people at a particular moment for a particular reason. And here's the thing about every flag ever made. The cloth always comes from somewhere else. What makes it a flag isn't the fabric. It's the decision to raise it. Hold that image. It will carry us all the way to the recipe. The moment was the late 1930s. Thailand, still called Siam when the decade began, had a new leader. Field Marshal Pleak Phibun Songkhram. Phibun wasn't a chef. He was a nation builder, and he was in a hurry. In 1939, his government renamed the country itself, from Siam to Thailand. It issued a series of cultural mandates telling citizens how to dress, how to speak, how to be modern, how to be Thai. A new nation needed new symbols it could see, wear, and this was the clever part: taste. At the same time, there was a colder problem on the table: rice. Rice was the country's export, its income, its lifeline, and in the war years it was under pressure, and a catastrophic flood in 1942 would soon devastate the harvest around Bangkok. Noodles stretched rice further. A bowl of rice noodles used less grain than a plate of rice, and the government knew it. So the state did something almost no state had done before. It promoted a dish. Officially, it encouraged noodle carts, spread the recipe, and pushed citizens to eat stir-fried noodles as a patriotic act. Lunch became policy. And what were those noodles? Here the fabric of our flag starts to show its seams. The flat rice noodle came from Chinese cooking. Even the everyday Thai word for noodles, quito, is borrowed from Chinese. Stir-frying itself, the screaming hot wok, the fast metal spatula, Chinese technique, carried into Siam by generations of immigrants who ran the noodle shops. If you want proof of how new this all was, listen to a Frenchman from 3 centuries earlier. In 1687, a diplomat named Simon de la Lauber visited the Siamese court and wrote down in careful detail what people ate: rice, fish sauce, vegetables, broths. He was thorough almost to a fault, and nowhere in his account will you find anything like a plate of stir-fried noodles. It simply wasn't on the table yet. So the government took an immigrant dish, tuned it to Thai taste, and gave it a name that did all the political work in 3 syllables: Pad Thai, Thai stir-fry. Think about that name for a second. In Thailand, you don't need to label food as Thai. Everything around it is Thai. You only stamp the word on something when you're claiming it. The name isn't a description. It's a declaration. Scholars have traced this story carefully. The anthropologist Penny Van Esterick, who spent decades studying Thai food culture, described how Phibun's government used cuisine as nation building, how eating became a way of performing Thanos. The food writer Alexandra Greeley went looking for the dish's origins for the journal Gastronomica and found the trail leading back, again and again, not to an ancient kitchen, but to this same campaign. And to be honest with you, some details are still argued over. There's a popular story that the government held a recipe contest, and there are families who claim their ancestor fried the very first plate. Food historians haven't settled it, and they may never. What no one seriously disputes is the era. The dish, as a national dish, is a child of the 1930s and 40s. It's not yet 100 years old. But then, why does the whole world believe it's ancient? Here's the twist, and it comes in two parts. The first part, the campaign never really ended, it just changed hands. In 2002, the Thai government launched a program called Global Thai, an official push to open thousands of Thai restaurants overseas, food as foreign policy, sometimes called gastrodiplomacy. Researchers like Sirajit Sananta have written about how deliberately this was done. And on nearly every one of those menus, in nearly every country on Earth, one dish sat at the top. The flag went global. Most flags do their work at home. This one was raised in London, Sydney, and Los Angeles. The second part of the twist is stranger, and it's the reason your tongue keeps insisting. The dish is old, because something on that plate really is ancient. Not the noodle. The balance: sour from tamarind, sweet from palm sugar, salty and deep from fish sauce. That three-way conversation is the oldest voice in the Thai kitchen. La Lauber was tasting fish sauce in the 1600s. The dish is young. The grammar it speaks is centuries old. Pad Thai feels ancient because it's a new sentence written in an old language, which means when you cook it, you're not just following steps. You're handling the seams of the flag. So let's cook it the way the old recipe intends, without the shortcuts that crept in later. Start with the noodles, because this is where most plates go wrong before the flame is even lit. You want thin, flat, dried rice noodles. In Thailand, the prized ones are sen chan from Chanthaburi. Do not boil them. Soak them in room temperature water for about 45 minutes to an hour, until they're bendable but still firm, like leather straps. Here's why. The noodle should finish cooking in the wok, drinking up sauce instead of water. A boiled noodle is already full. It has no room left for flavor, and it breaks. While the noodles soak, make the sauce the heart of the dish, and the part where the ancient grammar lives. In a small pot over gentle heat, melt together roughly equal parts: 3 tablespoons of tamarind paste, 3 tablespoons of palm sugar, 3 tablespoons of good fish sauce. Let it bubble softly for a few minutes until it thickens slightly and turns glossy, the color of dark honey. Why palm sugar and not white sugar? Because palm sugar is round. It carries caramel and smoke, and it softens the tamarind's edge instead of just sweetening it. Why tamarind and not vinegar or, please, no ketchup? Because tamarind is a fruit sour, with body and darkness. Ketchup was never in the old recipe. Taste your sauce. It should make you frown slightly, and then immediately want another taste. That frown is correct. Now the supporting cast, all in small bowls ready by the stove. A handful of firm tofu, cut into little batons. A tablespoon of dried shrimp. A tablespoon of sweet preserved radish, chopped fine. This is the salty sweet whisper. Most modern versions leave out 2 or 3 shallots sliced. 2 eggs. A big handful of fresh bean sprouts, rinsed well. A small bunch of garlic chives, cut into finger lengths. Roasted peanuts, roughly crushed. Lime wedges. Fresh prawns if you like. And notice that the classic version leans on shrimp and tofu, not pork. In the nationalist logic of the time, pork read as Chinese. The new dish kept its distance. Even the protein was political. One honest word before the flame. This plate carries the big allergens openly: peanuts, shrimp, fish sauce, egg. If you're cooking for someone else, ask first. That's part of cooking well too. Now the wok. Get it properly hot. A drop of water should dance and vanish. Add oil, then shallots, tofu, dried shrimp, and preserved radish. 30 seconds, just until fragrant. Add your prawns if using, and cook them through. Now the soaked noodles, and immediately the sauce poured over the noodles, not the marrow. Toss and fold. The noodles will drink, soften, and turn the color of teak. Here is the mistake to dodge, and I'm telling you before you get there. Never cook more than 1 or 2 portions at a time. A crowded wok drops in temperature, and the dish steams instead of fries. Steamed pad thai is sad pad thai. Small batches. Always. Push the noodles up one side of the wok. Crack the eggs into the empty space, scramble them until just set, then fold the noodles. Back over. Kill the heat. Throw in most of the bean sprouts and the garlic chives and toss once. The residual heat should barely wilt them. They're there for crunch, for freshness, for contrast. Cooked sprouts are surrender. Plate it. Peanuts on top, lime wedge on the side, a few raw sprouts and chives for the traditional finish, and if you can find it, a wedge of banana blossom, the old-fashioned companion. Squeeze the lime yourself at the table. The dish is meant to be finished by the person eating it. And that's the last quiet truth of this recipe. It was designed to be finished by you. This is a dish the state handed to millions of ordinary cooks and street vendors, and every single one of them adjusted it, a little sweeter here, a little more fire there, until a government project became a family habit. Tradition isn't the opposite of invention. Tradition is invention that got repeated with love at home until the paperwork was forgotten. So taste your plate. Nudge it toward your own tongue. More lime, more chili flakes, less sugar. You're not breaking the tradition. You are the tradition. Rice noodles in your kitchen, tamarind from a market stall, your own 2 hands at the wok. That's the whole lineage, and it now includes you. So go back to that night market counter. 9 at night, bare bulbs, the wok hitting the flame, tamarind and garlic rising in the smoke. The same plate, but now you can see it properly. Not a relic from Ayutthaya, a flag designed in an office, sewn from borrowed cloth, raised over a hungry country, and then loved so hard by so many people for so many decades that it became true. A flag becomes real the day people stop noticing they're waving it. Order the plate. It's still young. It's still yours.